All right, so as the title says, I want to really break this down and show you guys that, as surprising as it might sound, that there's multiple possibilities of streams of revenue that you can get as a music teacher or vocal coach, as I am. And we can really kind of break it down into where that money's coming from and how much I'm getting from each one of those sources. Now, the great thing about it is that some of these sources are actually very passive, and they kind of range from extremely passive to a lot more active streams of revenue. And that has really been the main clincher of what's been allowing me to be making that sum of money as, something that people would generally not think would be making so much money. A singing teacher, vocal coach, they generally would not put that in one of the higher paid positions that you could potentially have. But if done correctly and thought of properly, really anything that you're doing out there can be turned into a very lucrative business, depending on how you structure it. So first, I just want to go through some of the main kind of places or the streams of revenue where the money's coming from. So the first stream of revenue is YouTube AdSense. And this is essentially where if you have a channel on YouTube that is part of the YouTube Partner Program, so that means you have more than 1,000 subscribers, which hopefully this channel will get to soon, and more than 4,000 hours of watch time, you can partner with YouTube where you get 50% of the ad revenue of ads shown on your videos. And so that's something that I do with my other channel. That is just my name, and there's revenue from that. And then there's also 2 marketplaces for courses that I have my courses up on. One's called Udemy, the other one's called Skillshare. Definitely I'm getting more from Udemy than Skillshare. I haven't posted all of my courses up on Skillshare, but I have a bunch of courses up on Udemy, and that is generating monthly revenue. And then we've also got course sales on my website. So these are courses that I have listed on my website. This is off of the Udemy platform. So generally people that are finding me on Udemy, it's within the Udemy ecosystem. So meaning that they are searching on Udemy for singing lessons and boom, they get my courses. Here, it's more people finding me through YouTube or through organic search, and they're finding my courses online on my website and they're buying from there. So my next stream of revenue is also singing critiques. So this is something that I offer on my website where people can send in a link and of the video of them singing, and I'll critique their singing. So it's not a face-to-face lesson, but it is kind of a good way to get feedback on their singing. And then I've got a lesson subscription. So this is where they subscribe to my website every single month, and they get access to 8 group lessons a month and all of my courses and private lesson recordings that I have with other students. So you get a really good package all for that low monthly fee that is much lower than the private lesson fee. So then I also have private lessons, and this is probably the highest, kind of most intensive, my time intensive, but also pays the most because it is my time. And the private lessons generally taught over Zoom, and they come in hour and half-hour segments. And so that's what most people would think of when they think of a singing teacher or a vocal coach. They're thinking of private one-on-one lessons. And that's really, now that you kind of see what the whole big picture of what I'm doing, it's actually a smaller part of the pie because there's a lot more going on. Now, we'll see in a second exactly how that breaks down, but the idea is to have multiple streams of revenue so that you're not trading your time for money. And this is something that took me a little while to get to a breakthrough. I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That book, I would say, changed my perspective on business completely. And around the same time, I was also speaking with a business coach who was also a friend of mine, and he was saying, unless you absolutely love teaching, and that's like what you really want to do, and even if you do, you should also create something that you can sell that doesn't require you to be there all the time doing it. It's one-on-one lessons. You personally have to be there the entire time to get paid. Whereas if you have a course, then you can sell that and you can make money while you sleep. So that idea was extremely attractive to me. And that's where I started to shift. I created one course, then I created 5 more courses, then the lesson subscription kind of came about. So it all kind of came about slowly, but that idea of money while you sleep was a very nice idea. And I guess initially introduced with that first course, and then also the idea of the YouTube AdSense revenue, even though it's not totally passive, and we can kind of rank these out from the most passive to the most active. But that was kind of where I was finding my biggest shift from what I was doing originally to what I'm currently doing in my business. Okay, so we're gonna start with parts that are generating the least amount of income, and then we're gonna go down to the ones generating the most amount of income. And I'll also comment about how passive versus active they are. So the first one, singing critiques, is one of the most active ones. If somebody's going on my website, they're requiring a critique, I have to listen to the video, then I have to really kind of generate an idea of what I want to be saying in the video to kind of critique them. And I have to record it. The recording has to go well. I can't make mistakes. Like, there's a lot of potential for having to re-record stuff, which is very frustrating if it doesn't, go 100%. So I would say that is the most time consuming, and it's only generating 3% of my income. Very, very small percentage. It's something I could potentially do without, although it's nice to kind of have there for people that want to get an idea of what they should be doing with their voices, but they are not able to pay for full lessons or even for courses, and they want to get that feedback. So it's a good way for them to get that feedback, and that's kind of what I do there. Next would be YouTube AdSense. So YouTube AdSense is 4% of my income, and so it's a very small chunk. I'm thinking of potentially doing its own video on that, because a lot of my stuff gets copyright flagged because I'm reviewing and critiquing singers a lot. And when I'm doing that, the money goes to the original copyright owner, even though it should fall under fair use, logically. Often the copyright owners don't feel that's the case. And in order to fight it, there's a whole big process you have to go through. Something that we'll talk about for another video, not for this one, but it's only about 4%. So it's definitely on the lower end. Next, we have Udemy and Skillshare. The YouTube AdSense, I would say, is probably like mid-tier active/passive, because like right in the middle. Why do I say that? Even though the videos that I've already put out are generating income forever, if I don't continue putting out stuff, I'm not getting new eyeballs to my channel, not getting new eyeballs to my older videos. And so very quickly it would peter out. It does require that active component of putting out videos, and I'm putting out 4 videos on that channel every single week. So it's a lot of work to keep that going and pumping out that content. We also have, like I just said, Udemy and Skillshare. That's 4% between the two of them. Skillshare is a very, very, very small portion of that. And Udemy is by and large the bigger chunk. And this, I would say, is probably the least active of all my options, because I literally do, I think I have one video that has a link to one of my Udemy courses. Otherwise, I do not do any promotion for Udemy. Udemy does it all organically within the marketplace. That's great. As long as you get a good course that ranks well in their search, whenever somebody is searching for that search term, you're going to end up quite high on that list. And so thankfully I'm there, and it only kind of improves with time as, your course gains more positive reviews and a solid place there on their course platform. So I would say that is probably the most passive that I have, period, the end. Then there's also course sales on my website. So that is about 8% of my income generated on a monthly basis. And that is, I would say, one notch above the Udemy. So Udemy is totally passive. This is one notch because in order for those sales to come through, I still have to push people to my website, because there's not people organically, naturally coming to my website without me putting in money either for organic SEO of my website, or me putting in money for Google ads, or me actually putting it in my YouTube videos. So I need to be generating that buzz around my courses on my website. And so that's where I drive my traffic to my website. And so then after that, we have the lesson subscription. So the lesson subscription is generating about 36% of my monthly income, which is it's really great. I would say that this is probably on just a notch above course sales. I would say it's a little bit less active than YouTube AdSense, and I'll tell you why. Because the lesson subscription, while I am pushing it in my YouTube videos and stuff, basically the only time commitment that I have is those 8 group sessions that I have with all of my subscribers. And then past that, the rest of it is passive. People find it on my website and then they sign up, log in, get all of their credentials, and then they're part of the program. It's a very much lower time commitment than something like singing critiques or the private lessons. Those require much more of my time. This is, technically you could have 1,000 students part of the lesson subscription, and it doesn't go past that level of my time commitment, which is pretty awesome. And it's really nice having that element there, as well as the recurring revenue every single month, which really, really helps. And then that kind of grows with time as more people subscribe. And then finally, I've got my probably second most active component is the private lessons. And this is definitely my largest chunk of my income, but it's still not past the halfway point, which is awesome. 47% is from private lessons. And so private lessons are my highest ticket item, technically. And so I charge the most because it is the most time and the most intimate version of what I offer. So it's something that demands that price tag because of that. So it's still, I have thankfully, a lot of really great students that are constantly, renewing packages. I sell my lessons in 1 at a time, 5 lesson packages and 10 lesson packages. And so I have a number of students that are buying, 10 packs on, a bi-monthly basis, or a 5-pack on a monthly basis type of thing, which is really awesome. And then I'm always getting new students that are, wanting to join in and learn as well through private lessons. So there you have it. That is how, as a music teacher, vocal coach, I am making as much as I am. And I'm very thankful to be in this place. And I'm grateful to be able to share this type of content with you guys, because I hope that, I don't mean for this to be a weird flex. I mean for this to be fuel, motivation to help you guys take your passion, as singing was always my passion, to take your passion and then turn that into a business. You can easily do it with so many different options out there. Depending on how you want to structure it, you can make it in an extremely lucrative business that can run extremely effectively. And that's how I found it. If you like this type of content, I would greatly appreciate if you would gently tap that like button down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, check out this one right here. I know you're going to like this type of content. If you like this video, you're definitely going to like this one. So check it out.